Join our podcast conversations as we share ideas, insights, and information that will educate, inform, and inspire. We will blend our knowledge of online safety and emotional awareness to help you have a better understanding of your kids' online world and their emotional responses and well being.
Sarah,
Paul,
I
so good
love
to
it.
see you
Great to see you.
and hear you.
I'm looking forward to this topic. This is going to be fun.
Yes, so today we are talking about the athlete's dilemma, social media triumphs and tribulations. I think that this is a very important topic. I'm super excited about it, not just because my son's an athlete, and I think that this was him being 11, coming up in that tween years, but there's so many pros and cons about having your child who's an athlete have their own profile on social media. And I
Uh,
want to
so,
dive into all those pros and cons.
so this podcast was skewed towards the fact that your kids and I get it. No, I'm kidding.
So selfishly, yes.
No, this is a great topic, and I know it'll impact your son later on. But for everyone listening, this is a great topic. So let's start off
Hmm.
with, I think, what I call the basics of: do you need social media to be successful in the athletic world? In a nutshell, the answer is no. In a
Hmm.
nutshell, you need skills. You need to prove yourself at whatever sport it is that you are out there. Is social media a great way to promote yourself? Yes. But at the end of the day, let's say you're a hockey player. I believe a scout is going to come and evaluate you. A scout can determine your skill set by looking at a social media post. They might look at a video, but they want to know the person. They want to talk to you. They want to engage you. They want to see your skill set. Can it be a way to get their attention? 1000%. We're not going to go into the names of players, but we can name, as we did before we started recording, that there are professional athletes out there that have zero social media presence. They are some of the
Hmm.
best out there. And the way they became successful was through the skill sets that they possess. And they just
Hmm.
didn't find the need to have social media. So, having said that, let's go down the path of okay, you want to have a social media account and you're an athlete. I have some very basic rules about this. And actually, there's really two basic rules about this,
Hmm.
which I think will expand into conversation. Number one, and let's use hypothetically Instagram. Instagram is a really great way to help promote yourself. So let's say you're an athlete and you open up an Instagram account. Golden rule number one I tell athletes when I speak to them is focus on your goal, which is obviously to promote yourself. And the saying I use is stay in your lane. Focus on your
Hmm.
end goal, look for where you want to be, and stay focused. Do not be detracted by social media because remember, not everyone is going to like you. Your
Hmm.
account is about look at me, look at me, look at me. So if you're going to promote yourself, my first recommendation is you never allow anyone to leave comments on your posts. So a
Hmm.
lot of people will compliment you and some people will just dislike you. And so they may post something you're not happy with. You might be reading that at a really weird time of the day. And based on your
Right.
emotional state, your
Yes.
response could be equally as damaging to you because of how you responded to that negativity. And I'll give
Hmm.
you a hypothetical. It could be
Hmm.
someone up late at night and they're just not of sound mind. They see something appropriate and they just go from their emotions to their fingertips, they respond. The other person
Hmm.
took a screenshot and now they regret it, but then it resurfaces later on because, as you can see, the internet never forgets. So, number one,
Yes, because you are
nope,
held accountable to character, no matter
exactly.
what.
Eh,
Online, offline, here we go. Hmm.
exactly. So, number one, no comments allowed in your post. Number two, when you are building a profile on social media, back to the saying of stay in your lane, we like to take positions in the world because we're allowed to. We have freedom of speech. And
Hmm.
so we now might become passionate about, so we're an athlete, we're promoting ourselves, but now we want to take a position on a cause out there. And I'm not going to bring out any causes. Having said that, if you do align yourself with something, which you are completely allowed to do, by default, you alienate yourself from a percentage of the population who doesn't agree with that position. It could be
Mm-hmm.
political, it could be anything. And so your child is saying, look at me, I'm getting thousands and thousands of followers. You know what? I'm really passionate about something. I'm going to talk because I want to support it, which they're allowed to. But remember that not everyone agrees with your position. And as a
Mm-hmm.
result, you're building this profile about yourself. You've taken a firm position on whatever topic it is. And now the individuals who counter that, you're alienating from opportunity. So the
Mm-hmm.
two key messages: don't distract from the message, which is your net goal. And let's keep opinion and let's take positions away right now. Focus on you, the athlete. You're not going to look for likes. You're not going to look for, you're just going to focus on you because
Mm-hmm.
it is a platform for promoting, and leave it at that for now.
Yes, and you know what? And I like you've set it up in a way where you're saying, okay, you don't don't allow comments.
Hmm.
Stay in your lane, stay focused on your end result, which is I want to promote myself as an athlete. I want to show all the skills I have or all the training that I do because I'm hoping that it will inspire others or I can gain interest. Maybe someone who wouldn't have normally heard about me through the grapevine, which
Hmm.
a lot of the times they do. Like, you know, a lot of word of mouth happens, or you
Yeah.
know, their different coaches are talking. So that is for sure. But then there's something else you said, which I really, really liked, which is, and this is my interpretation of it. But sorry, my heater went off. Did you hear that noise in the background?
No,
Okay,
no.
I was like, it's so distracting. But everyone, this is real time. I mean, you know, we don't edit this, so I'm just gonna unplug it because all it just fired up and then it got me all distracted. But what I'm hearing is that this is almost like you're using Instagram in a way that's almost like a website
Yep.
because the minute you take away the comments and the minute you're not focused on the likes, why do you use a website? You use a website because it just here's the information. Here's the information about me. No one's interacting on a website. So I think that's really cool that you've set it up that way. Never thought of using Instagram in a way that's basically a website that gets way more exposure than if you just had a regular website.
Yeah, and the beauty about what you just said is that you can have a website with your custom name
Mm-hmm.
associated with it. You know, whatever your name is, .com, .ca, whatever, and then you can actually link that to your Instagram. So you have actually multiple ways that people can search you up when you do a proper Google search on yourself. So it can actually, the website can complement your social media profile, but because your social media profile will use hashtags, websites aren't very good with that. But if you use a hashtag on Instagram and it's, you know, it's hashtag hockey life, hashtag hockey player, whatever it is,
Yeah.
people can
Hashtag
stumble upon,
volleyball.
yeah, they can stumble upon that, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
both of them actually complement each other. And when I go deep, for example, when I do speak to hockey clubs, I go deeper and I say, yeah, social media, but then remember, you want your permanent online presence. You need to own a website. You need to have your own custom domain name, and then you can branch out. And you can go from Instagram to maybe a Facebook page. And you're like, Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
kids are on Facebook. You're right, but scouts might be out there. Your parents and their friends might be out there, which
Mm-hmm.
gains you more attention, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're branches of social media. But back to what we're saying, you know, stay in your lane.
Yes. Well, and I think too, so I was reading about this topic and there are some pros and some cons, and we've talked a little bit about the brand building. So you're
Hmm.
building your brand is you and your whatever your skill is. And this could even be, you know, for people who are into gymnastics, you know, it's not just hockey, it's not just baseball
Right.
or dance or, you know, or singing. It could even be the arts, right?
Hmm.
It could be the art. It could
Absolutely.
be, yeah, it could be I'm a painter. I'm, you know, and so that's what I want to build my brand on. The thing I think that's really cool about being able to do this and you have to do this in a way that is, again, you're staying in your lane, but is you get to share things in real time when you have social media. You get to
Right.
share like this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm training, this is how this is the regime I use, you know. But at the same time, there's a con to that, which is now people know exactly what you're doing and sometimes where you're doing it. So
Right.
there's a safety bit there, especially if you're younger. What would you say to something like that?
Yeah. So, do we have to post right away? The answer is no. Do we have
Hmm.
to post that we're on the ice practicing, we're
Right.
at the arena? The answer is no. We can record and then later on that day say, oh, by the way, today was a great workout day and I practiced this particular skill set with this
Right.
particular coach. You can always do it after the fact. It doesn't have to be in real time. And the way to help manage that is by getting parental involvement in it. So
Hmm.
let's say hypothetically your son does open an account around 13, 14. My recommendation as a friend would be, Sarah, I want you to run his account. So you create the content, you post it, you disable comments. So your son knows, all right, I got a profile out there and I'm gaining attention, but you will manage everything. And by managing it and being involved in his online life, number one, you see what's coming his way and you can, of course,
Hmm.
protect him from some of, maybe a DM that just you didn't want him to see because it could be devastating in
Right.
terms of the words that were used. But number two, because you're running the account, you allow your son to just stay focused on his skill versus the distraction of social media. And of course, you can limit that and say, you know what, I'm only going to spend 15 minutes a day on his account talking about whatever's happening. He
Right.
focuses on being a player. I'll focus on his online profile. Yes, you will show it to
Mm.
him. Yes, you'll have feedback on it. You'll interact with him, but you will own it, which means it's less distracting. So that's another topic I speak about, which is the involvement of a parent or a caregiver to say, don't let, because eventually they get sucked into it, which,
Right. That creates a space, right?
yeah,
Creates a bit of a
yeah. So we
buffer.
don't, we don't want that. And
No.
if you have yourself there with that buffer, oh, this is literally it's magic because they can focus, they have their profile, they're not being distracted by anything inappropriate or anything that was sent them that might take away from who they are or impact their self-worth or their no, you see all that. I remember
Right.
years ago, I was consulting for a company, and it was interesting on how the individuals that were hired for this company were actually sheltered from certain comments that were sent to them because they were all filtered. So they got what the organization wanted them to see, and they held
Mm.
back the bad stuff, which could have impacted their morale or whatever.
Hmm.
I can't get into the details of it. And I thought that's a good strategy because you're protecting the individuals who are just there to do a job, not to be criticized by the
Harassed.
haters and all that,
Right.
right? Yeah, and haters are going to hate, right? So
Absolutely.
let
Absolutely. And not only that, but you get to, with for a child, you get to be the buffer because their brain's not fully mature to really dissect, oh, that's their opinion. It doesn't mean much. I mean, yes, we can plant that seed, but they don't have to be bombarded with the negativity on social media. They already will be dealing with different people not liking them or always agreeing with them at school or in everyday life, let alone then you come and you have it on online world
right. So
constantly.
the net result is this kid needs to focus on their success as an athlete. Social media can gain attention, but we don't want it to get sucked into this rabbit hole of, okay, you know what? I'm on it. I may as well search something out. I'm on it. I may as well respond to comments. Takes away from
Yes,
their focus. Use it,
it's a
help
rabbit
promote
hole.
it. Or when they call it a rabbit hole,
Even for me.
it literally is. And now put yourself in the position of an adult who has a very difficult time in the art of self-discipline when it comes to negativity online. So if we
Oh
have a
yeah.
hard time processing it, we're expecting, sorry, a child
Hmm.
with a 13-year-old mind, a 14-year-old mind to deal with this. Number one, that's unfair to them. But number two,
Hmm.
they're not processing it the way they should be. And this is where it could have a devastating effect on what they're trying to do, which is be that amazing athlete. Because
Hmm.
look, I could care less about a negative comment that's made about me. It does not impact me. Can it impact somebody else? 1000%, which means when it's sitting in your psyche, it's taken away from who you
Hmm.
are and
Hmm.
what you set out to do. Adults have a hard time with that. It is not fair
Absolutely.
for a child to be put in that situation. So if it's done properly, social media is awesome. If you
Yes,
leave it to their own devices, it
it
can be
needs
detrimental.
boundaries. Yes. these boundaries. And this goes back to the detriment can be, it's so easy to go from emotion to fingertips, emotion to choice.
Yeah.
Emotions are a huge part of the games they're playing.
Hmm.
I'm sure. They're no matter what, if they're an athlete, they're in a competitive mindset, playing something competitive. Plus, they are a human being that is born to feel a wide range of emotions. So
Right.
you mix that all together and you put social media in front of them, and then there could be different things that are said, different things they see. Now it's triggering even more emotions. If they post something that is not in alignment with character, or the character that somebody else, maybe from another team, is in alignment, that could be very detrimental. So knowing that character counts and teaching our kids very, very, I mean, this is a big tool even for us adults, but you never post out of emotion and be very conscious of the character traits you want to be known for. So I would actually have your child write down, what character traits do I want to be seen as? Do I want to be seen as respectful, kind, and empathetic? Awesome. I'm going to write that down. So every time I'm typing something, every time I'm going to do something, it needs to be out of kindness, empathy, and compassion, or whatever those ones are for them. This reminds them that emotions are real. I can sometimes feel hurt by something. I can sometimes have that hurt turn into anger, but that is not where I'm going to type from. That is not where I'm going to post from. I
Hmm.
can sometimes feel envy and jealousy, but that's not where I'm going to type from. That's not where I'm going to post from, because it's not in alignment with my character and it's not how I want to be seen. And character counts on so many different levels. I do think there's something very real, and this has actually happened to me years ago, where something you post can be taken out of context.
Of course.
So being really mindful of what you're posting, how you're wording it, especially when you want to align yourself with possible. I mean, a lot of young kids even get sponsorship,
Hmm.
right? They might be like, "Oh, I'm doing really well," and Bauer might say, "Oh, you know what? Next time you do that stick handling trick here, use our new stick."
Right.
But if there's something that is not in alignment with the brand character wise, doesn't matter how good you are at stick handling, they're going to be like, "Nope, I don't think so." And I
Exactly.
think that this goes across the board, even when you're on something that you're not promoting as being an athlete, you're on your own personal Snapchat. Okay, well, if you want to make sure you're of character, anything that you're even snapping that has nothing to do with your social media, say Instagram account for hockey, matters, because all it takes is someone screenshotting the one thing that you posted and saying, "Hey, yeah, you know that kid that thinks he's so well with getting free Bauer sticks? Well, Bauer, you won't be happy with this."
Kids have
Right? So
lost
it's
scholarships because of that, Sarah.
absolutely, that's
It
what I
just
mean. So
that
teaching our kids
screen
young is important.
that screenshot that someone
Hmm.
took and it resurfaced. It's something I show grade 7s to 12s. I'm like, look how this
Hmm.
has impacted people, because you thought it was gone and it wasn't. So the character traits you lay out, and this is a discipline that must be guided by the
Hmm.
child's parent or guardian, because we can't expect them. Remember, we're all emotional, but they're even more when they see
Hmm.
something they're triggered, and they have to know, never ever go from your emotions to your fingertips. Apply that 24-hour rule. Move away. Say, "Mom, Dad, can you help me with this?" And deal with
Hmm.
it logically, right? But you're absolutely correct, and that is a discipline. We need
Hmm.
to be there to guide them, because I'm sorry, I've met a lot of kids. They're just they're just kids. They lack
Yeah,
the discipline, and
they
that
can't see
comes
the
in
whole
time.
forest.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
can't.
they can't see
But
it.
that
That's why we have, yeah, that buffer, like you said, is brilliant.
yeah, and it will come in time, but
Hmm.
not at 13, 14, 15. Some not even at 20, but it will come in
Hmm.
time. But if we give them that time not to make the choices that could hurt them, we've done a great benefit for them. Fair?
And their career, right? Like to
Absolutely.
hurt they think they're going to be good. And so my U Power journal, you've probably seen this many times, but my
Yep.
U Power journal that I created with this in mind, when it comes to navigating emotions, but figuring out who you are as a person, your character.
Yep.
Paul, this is step two. This is something that I firmly believe is, and I'm saying this out loud for the people that are just hearing it, you can do this exercise where get a sheet of paper that just has character traits on it. Have your child circle 3 of them and say, what do you want to be known for as a person and an athlete? Have them write it out and post it somewhere so that you can visually see it. This is part of training the brain to think and act beyond emotions, knowing emotions are real, they're okay to feel, but they're not okay to just go from emotion to choice and say, hey, I was angry, that's why I typed it. Well, people are like, what? Then do something with your anger, because you still need to be respectful and responsible with your posts and with your words.
Right.
So I find that's something I do on a personal level. It's something I do with everyone I work with, but even my son, he has his. I choose to be respectful, determined, and joyful. That's what he chose, is joyful was one of them, which I was like, okay. And so will they fall off track? Absolutely. There'll be moments where you'll have to be like, whoa, did you, what you said or how you responded, is it in alignment with your character? Or did you let your emotions make that choice? And I think that giving your child that exercise of really them getting clear about who they want to be as a person and as an athlete is very important, so that every time they're about to type something or post something, they'll say, is that in alignment with who I want to be as a person? It
Right.
just gives their brain somewhere different to make a choice from, and a reminder. Because you could think, oh, this is a really good post, this is a really good choice. Out of anger or jealousy, of course, it feels like a really good choice. And then later you're like, oh, that wasn't being humble. That wasn't being respectful. And I want to be respectful, humble as a player and a person.
Right. Yeah. The emotional part is something I think parents struggle with their kids, and that's why I believe in this partnership between the parent and the child to make this successful, because
Yes.
it can be very successful. Now, having said that, um, when you look at all the platforms available, I get asked, so where is the platform to promote? Number one, I always say Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the market dominance, the hashtags. Would I be TikToking? My answer is no, not right now. I've got too many issues with it, with in terms of the app, invasion of privacy. That's just a separate show altogether. Facebook, although kids might say, well, yeah, Facebook's for old people. Well, you know what? They have market dominance, meaning, I mean, listen,
Yeah. Well,
my following is
older,
Facebook, right?
yeah,
Um,
and older people are still scouts looking for you.
exactly. I don't think you have 20-year-old scouts out there. You know what I mean? So that could be a place for complementary promotion. But to complement both of those, I say, and you mentioned earlier, a website. Have your brand. Um, Register the domain name. Keep it until you are ready to promote, because when you do that Google search, you want a reference to social media, you want that website coming up, and you want the pictures you post on both being indexed, for example, by Google Images Index, so that people will see it and then they'll be lured to the post, to the website. So it's a combination of both. The good thing about a website is that it's static. So there's no comments,
Right.
there's no
No
likes, there's
comment. Yeah.
nothing. People come, they gather your knowledge, they leave with your knowledge. On a
Mm-hmm.
social media platform, you've got the opportunity for interaction, for DMs, and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
collectively, if you want to talk about less stress, it's a website.
Mm-hmm.
With the management of a parent, Instagram, Facebook, with that website, parents, you can make it work. It'll be the best place for
Mm-hmm.
marketing of your kid. Now, I always direct that you market. Don't allow others to do it. And the reason,
Mm-hmm.
um, do we how close of a picture do how much of a close up, sorry, do we want of a kid
Right.
on a
You want to
picture?
be in a. Mm-hmm.
Do you want it
Well,
at
and
a
you
little
want to make,
distance
yeah.
or a long distance? You don't
Mm-hmm.
want it up close and personal. Maybe you don't want any background noise, like, don't be taking pictures in front of your home, in front of your parents' car with the license plate exposed, or the school that you go to, right? So
Yeah.
these little things, other people who are just looking to go from their motion to fingertips and post may not see that. But if a parent says, you know what, let's for this picture, we'll do an action shot while you are on the field, and we'll post it. And you know what? There's trees in the background, so really not really giving away much of where we're at, but that's a great action shot. I'm going to post that up there. They
Mm-hmm.
need that help as well. So we want to invoke a little bit of privacy while we're promoting at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And what age would you say
Hmm.
for something like this, where you, the parent, are so involved with, well, I mean, really with the whole site and the whole account.
Well, when your child starts up, the parental involvement is immediate. The
Right.
debate is, well, I get asked, okay, so Paul, so what age do I start promoting my kid? Now, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with parents who run accounts for their 8-year-old kids in dance class. Um, that's not really promotion. I think there's something deeper than that, and it kind of concerns me because these are public pictures with a lot
Right.
of personal data. That's
Mm.
me having a bone to pick with that. 13, 14, with parental consent, and you want to start promoting the kid, you're not violating the rules. They're 13 years of age and older. You're working with them on the account. I say, if you're comfortable, I would support you 100%.
And I like that you said both being of consent. So it's not a parent being like, "Hey, I want to promote you," and the kid's like, "No, I don't want my picture on the York." No, 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 you're really no, I'm going to do it. This is a team. This is okay. You want to be on? Okay, so now I'm going to do it in a way that has structure. It has boundaries. It has the character built in and how you want to be seen and how you want to come across. Also, I'm helping you navigate when you get a DM that's maybe not what you need to be reading right now. So I mean, if you're working together, I can see that that could also be a really good learning experience as long as both want to be on. Now, my son doesn't have an account. Um, no real desire. Maybe a couple times has been like, oh, I want an account. He has lots of friends that have accounts, but then
Mhm.
he's never really pursued it. So there's not something that I would pursue either. But I do find that in the next few years, maybe that's going to change. So this is really helpful information to be like, yeah, okay, so this is how we could set that up and this is how it could be navigated. Also, I think that there's a big part of knowing what you're posting is also storytelling. So you want to make sure, like you were saying, the kids can't see the whole forest, they can just
Mhm.
see the tree. So if you're, people are always looking for what are you posting about, like what's the story behind that. And I think that that is something that you do need an adult to really say, okay, is that really what you want to post? You want to post only every single moment you're doing everything perfectly, or do you want to tell a little story about some challenges and some adversity and then how you've come out the other side? Like, I think those are good conversations to have as well. Or maybe just do it as a highlight reel. There you go. Like you're right, it'd be good to have these, because I think otherwise it's just a mash of things you're just posting on there, and sometimes it can be not exactly the story you want to
That's
tell.
yeah, and that's why one of the focuses, and we talked about, is the involvement of the parent, because
Hmm.
they can listen. I know they're inspired and I know they're driven, but I'm going back to this. They're also kids, and with your analogy, you can't see the forest through the trees. It's so important that we are invested. So parents, this doesn't take a lot of time. So you won't want to be overly consumed with this as well. But if you invest X amount of time every month, and I'm not exaggerating if I told you perhaps an hour out of a month is sufficient. If you think about how long it takes to post something, not long at all. You script what you want to talk about, post it with your picture, leave it out there. Check every now and again if there's a message that comes in, maybe there's an opportunity from a scout, but you don't have to invest a lot of your time. The
Hmm.
focus is always the success of your child and the skill set that they're building. Don't allow the other component to consume you. So the investment of time between parent and child, and where they know, hey, this is what I want to go to, and you're saying, all right, is that your end result? You see, they might be
Right.
thinking for today, you're thinking for tomorrow. That's the primary difference. And so if they are posting something that they think will just get a like, and oh, I guess I'm going to go in a little bit of a tangent over here, but if they're doing something for a
Good. I
like,
love your tangents.
thank you. And is is that like worth it for the now, or is that going to be worth it for the future? So they have to kind of think about that, and that's why the partnership is important. But having said that,
Mm-hmm.
another thing is, and the kid has the ability not to accept likes. And the final message I want to leave, because I know we have to wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
is when our kids are posting, and of course they're promoting themselves, the message I've said forever is never judge your self-worth based on the number of likes a picture gets. You are much
Yes.
better than that. So,
Your worth is always whole. Mm-hmm.
um, should you disable likes on a post? I suggest you do. Now, what
Mm.
happens?
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely can, because another way kids get sucked into is, well, hold on a second, I have 1,000 followers. I think that's a
Yeah.
really good picture of me performing that particular scene, but I only got 5 likes. Oh, that could
Yeah.
be in the in Gen Z's world. That
Yes.
could be devastating.
And then
I
you anxiety goes up, depression, everything. Yeah, being very mindful. I like the disabling of that because it actually doesn't matter and you can't have your worth beyond that. Yes, I agree.
exactly.
I like that.
So
I
we
like
can make
that. I
this.
just said disable likes. I like that.
I listen. I We can make this work. So
Yeah, we can. And and the last thing I just want to say
yep,
is that helping your child navigate is so important because you can get so lost in what everybody else is doing, right? You can get so lost in what are other athletes doing? And it's good to learn from others, but you don't want to lose your authenticity,
right,
your creative ability. And I find that even with myself as being a speaker, I can easily be like, well, what are they doing? Well, what are they doing? What are they? Oh my gosh, maybe I should talk on that. And then I'm like, Sarah, and I'm going to go back to what you said in the beginning of this, stay in your lane, do what you're good at. You
exactly,
do you. Do you. And so I think that that's really important not to be like judge, compare. Oh my goodness. You can learn from each other. However, stay in your lane, be authentic to you, add your own zest and creativity. And if you have someone helping you, like you have your parent helping you, this is great because as parents, we can say, whoa, that's getting off. That's not authentic to you. That's not the character traits of you, and we can remind them, because sometimes they'll forget because they'll get caught up in what everybody else is doing. So I
right.
love this teamwork that we're talking about.
Yeah, and to your point about consuming what other people are doing and then making a self comparison,
Hmm.
that takes them away from their lane as well. If
Yes.
the
Hmm.
student and the parent do observe out and say, you know what, do you think that's cool? Yeah. Do you think you want to practice that and maybe add it to you? Yeah. By the way,
Hmm.
that is their skill set. If it's not your skill set, it can complement your skill set. And I'll give you a perfect example. There is a saying I have in my presentation. It's from a person by the name of Sara Westbrook. And I say
Oh.
to parents, you are allowed to feel,
Hmm.
because I don't
Hmm.
want you feeling judgment, shame, or embarrassment. So when your child disappoints you, you're allowed to feel that way. Now, I learned from an amazing person by the name of Sarah Westbrook that is great because it compliments me. Now, I'm not Sarah Westbrook. I never will be. But that piece
Imagine if you
helped.
were all of a sudden.
That would be scary. But
Yeah.
that piece is so complementary to my message that
Hmm.
it doesn't take away from Paul, the cyber guy. It actually helps parents deal with the message that I've given them. So I'm not going to be
Hmm.
an emotional expert. No, no. But if that message helps solidify, well, I'm staying in my lane, but I'm now
Hmm.
adding value add without being distracted and saying, yeah, you know what, I should focus more on emotional resilience. No, 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 no. That is the Sarah Westbrook experience. You're talking technology tonight. So if you can
Yes.
look at others, and we were talking about another speaker before
Hmm.
and how you know her and her energy level, if you take something from that night, we all complement each other, but we
Exactly.
all stay in our lane.
I love that. Stay authentic to you. And just like we're talking today about helping your child with their social media and being that buffer and helping them and holding them accountable, my mom's worked for me for the last 18 years. Guess who still keeps me in my lane? My own mom.
Mom,
So,
that's awesome. That's
right?
awesome.
So we all need help. It doesn't matter what age. I'm going to be 42. I still need her to be like, Sarah, no, no, no. What are you doing? Come on, over here.
I hear
Stay
that.
in your lane.
I hear that.
Love it.
Parents, until next time,
Until next time, this is what we know.
this is what we know.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, Sarah.